what's the state of the Bucks? The Bucks were bounced in five by the Pacers, but the headline here is John Halliburton, Tyrese Halliburton's dad, was got into it with Giannis when game went final. So with Dame's torn ACL, basically missing majority of or pretty much all of next season, what's next? What has to be done here for them?
Well, I
Don't
yeah.
say it.
Got a couple graphics here that they've been bounced in the playoffs a few times, first few years, over the
Look,
past 3 years. And
personally, I don't think he leaves. I think he wants to stay. I think, for him to leave, we'd have to trade him. But if we're looking at the state of the team, I think that's the only option we have because think about it. No first round picks until 2031. We don't have money. Only person we can pay is Giannis and Dame, who's going to be injured all next year now. But when he comes back, he's going to take that player option, which is 53 million. So, I mean, if we want to get
pretty
ahead
good
of
player
everything,
option.
yeah, if he when he comes back, he's going to take that money. It's 53 million down the drain because who wouldn't take that, obviously. And the only way for us to continue to be somewhat competitive is if John Horst decides to trade Giannis, which I don't think is going to happen. I really hope it doesn't happen because, I mean, we built a new stadium for the guy. We've done everything for him. We made sure that he was comfortable on a team and got whatever coach he wanted. I mean, he's literally royalty here. Putting him somewhere else is not going to be the same. He likes to have the ball. He likes to be in control, and he's the leader of this team. If he goes somewhere else, he's going to be the leader of that team. So it's not going to be the same, um, you know, team wise. I would say, obviously, but man, it's a tough decision to make. I really think that if they do trade him, the place that they should try to look at is maybe the Rockets because they have a lot of good young assets and a lot of picks still. And if I'm gonna say this last thing, if people think that in a Thunder and Bucks trade that if we trade Giannis and we're not getting Chet Holmgren, you're crazy because we're getting way more than what Luka went for. I'll tell you that, way more.
Yeah, because he plays both ends of the ball and he's a champion. So
And he's a two-time MVP. Luka doesn't have either of those. So I mean, we're getting way more, and Giannis has more first-team All NBAs as of right now. So
But the thing is that I think that the Bucks don't have a crazy amount of leverage here in teams' eyes right now because
no leverage.
no leverage.
the way teams see it is that look, Giannis is going to want to leave if he's not winning there, and he's got 1 year left on his contract. So why overpay when even if the Bucks keep him, we could just go out and get him in free agency potentially next season. So I don't think the Bucks should trade him. I really don't. I think that yes, the state of the team right now very bad. We don't have any first round picks in our control until what, like 2031, I think it is.
2031, yes.
You don't have a lot of young players. You're like the oldest team in basketball right now. And you got Damian Lillard, who's going to be injured all next season pretty much. And, really not a great number two behind Giannis if Dame's not healthy, with, Kyle Kuzma being our second best
KPJ,
option.
KPJ. That's the only
KPJ,
person that I can think of being a two.
yes, but I feel like they'd utilize Kuzma more as the two. He would be considered the general two in people's eyes, I think, more than KPJ. But yes, KPJ would be the second best player on the team, I think, without Damian Lillard. With that being said, I think the Bucks should not trade him. I think that Giannis wants to stay. I 100% agree with you. I think that he's got such loyalty to this team, and even if he only wins the one ring, he will stay in Milwaukee for the rest of his life. I really believe that. I think that he's kind of a Dirk Nowitzki type player. I know I talked to you guys about this earlier in the week, but I just think that the amount of loyalty that this guy has is just, it's almost like it's inspiring. We don't see it in the NBA anymore. And I really believe that, we heard in a press conference, maybe it was about a year back now, where he was like, they would have to kick me out of Milwaukee. I'm not going to request a trade. And I don't think he's going to leave in free agency. Now, I could understand John Horst being like, look, we have absolutely nothing. Giannis is really our only tradable asset here, with Damian Lillard being so old. But I just don't think that we are going to get the return that one would expect for Giannis, because these teams know that we have no leverage right now, in their eyes at least, because they think that Giannis is leaving either this year via trade or next year.
I
And
was
see,
talking to
here's
Sam. Yeah, I was. Sam was saying on the podcast on Tuesday, I believe, that um, Giannis should get traded to the Jazz. So, because the Jazz had the
I'd like that.
most picks, and obviously you're not getting number one pick this season, but you'll get next year's first round picks, and however many picks I think we can give up, about like four first round picks, and then you could get probably Lowry marketing, and then you would probably get John Collins. I mean, Lowry ain't Giannis, but I mean,
He's good. He's an
he's
underrated
an all
player.
star.
He's an
So
Listen,
all-star.
man,
He's an
Laurie
underrated player.
Markkinen's never
I'd
made
rather
playoffs
keep
in his
Giannis,
entire
dude.
career. Laurie's never made playoffs in his entire career. He's been in the league for like 10 years. Okay.
He's been on terrible teams though. I mean,
yeah,
Yeah,
you
he's
got
the
to look at
lead.
the teams he's been
He's
on.
not
oh
a
my
number
If
one
he's that
option.
good of
He's
a
not
player,
that
if he's the
good,
number
but
one player on a team, he should be able to make playoffs at least once in
he,
10 years.
he's
Okay.
the number one team on the Jazz because the Jazz have nobody else that is worth as a Jazz fan, as somebody who's been a fan since the Gordon Hayward days. Lauri Markkanen is not a number one caliber player, but as a number two, even he would be real valuable on the team. He is an underrated player, and he is like the sole reason why the Jazz are not like the worst team in the NBA. Like I know that they're close and they're
Listen,
not
We
making
only
the playoffs
chose that
anytime
this year because
soon.
we tanked, literally.
Yeah,
Not to mention, yeah, the injuries forced them to play like G League players all throughout the end of the season.
right.
And then
Exactly.
Will Hardy told us that the press conference at like training camp that there's going to be a hard tough year, but we're going to get a lot of
We're
development in.
rebuilding.
So
Plain and
listen,
simple.
man. Listen, Giannis wants to go somewhere where he can win. There's no way that
he won already.
If he's traded, I mean,
win
maybe he'd have to go
again.
wherever. But
He's a top 15 player, 20 player ever. He's not gonna want to sit on one ring his rest of his career. He wants
Do you
to win.
realize the Jazz have the most like potential other than the Thunder
Yeah, young
for the
wise,
future?
they're the second worst team in the league right now, bro. We're talking about the Jazz versus the Thunder. If you trade Giannis there,
I wouldn't even say
you
the
guys
Jazz
have
is
to
the
give up
second
all these
worst
first
team.
round picks. You gotta give up Laurie and probably like Colin Sexton or something like that. Like you gotta
Mhm.
give up all those. Maybe probably Isaiah Collier. You probably have to give up one of the young players. At least one
You
of
don't
them.
want
We
any of them,
hold
bro.
we
You want
hold that
Giannis.
leverage, but we hold that leverage, dog. You ain't, and what Dame is still on contract, so who gonna take Dame?
That's what I'm saying.
Getting Isaiah Collier is not gonna happen. But I will say you probably end up
Have to.
you probably would end up getting a slew of picks, which y'all need.
Yeah, but we also need to rebuild with younger players. We're the oldest team in the league, like Nolan just said, bro. If we want to succeed, Colin Sexton is not the answer, in my opinion. I think he's good, but he's not young enough. I think he's 27, something like that. Like he's young, but he's already in his prime, not producing up the numbers that he should have been after that injury he had in like 2020 or something like that. But
I'm just telling you,
the
those
Bucks
three.
won't be.
There's three untouchable players on the Jazz team. There's Collier, is going to be Walker Kessler, and then it's probably going to be Cooper Flag if we draft him. If we don't get the number one pick, now
it's
if
the
we don't
lottery
get the number
stuff.
one pick, we might trade that. You could trade that.
The Bucks, though, if they trade Giannis, they are not going to look for. I really don't believe that they're going to be looking for players like, oh, how can we still win right now? If you trade Giannis, this is what the toughest part is about trading Giannis, and why I don't think that they're going to do it is because if you trade Giannis, you are basically admitting to a rebuild, and that's
Yes,
what you would have to
exactly.
do.
They're going to
But
get the young players. It's gonna happen. We're not gonna get Cooper Flag. We're gonna get Isaiah Collier or Walker Kessler, bro. You have to understand that.
yeah, I mean, they would probably target one of the young
The
guys,
Jazz
but
wouldn't
like
do that trade then.
the picks
Why?
would be the
You have
most important
Giannis.
thing for Milwaukee. Who can offer up the most picks between the Thunder and the Jazz? And obviously the Jazz have the most, but would they be willing to get, how many would they be willing to give up? But
That's the
again,
key.
if we trade Giannis, we are admitting to a rebuild, and the Bucks will suck for the next 5 years. I can
All
almost
right, well,
guarantee it.
let me get my say in this.
Go ahead.
So, priority A, give Giannis whatever the heck he wants. If he wants to
A
stay,
ring.
re-sign him for the biggest dime. If he wants to leave, trade him. I think that is the best way that you can honor him. He's not going to make a whole show of it. Just give him what he wants. If he wants to go win a championship somewhere, give it to him. That's honestly for business, better for the Bucks. But this guy, if the Bucks didn't draft Giannis, there's a chance that there's not basketball in Milwaukee right now. It is that serious. Like you saw how Dallas responded when Luka got traded. Milwaukee would riot, absolutely riot if they traded for like any unwarranted reason. I think that he owns Milwaukee, that he is Milwaukee at this point, and
You're gonna have to make it worth it, man.
I would rather hold on to him until he's 40 and go 42-40 every year than try and trade him for Isaiah Collier and try and call him our franchise piece moving forward.
Listen.
That I would hold on to Giannis over either of those guys. Is it a better business decision to get rid of him? Maybe in a year when we see a new contract built up. But right now, there's no reason to put him in any other situation. I know that it's tough right now, but I think that this is a guy that we're going to hold on to him for as long as we can and for as long as he'll be able to provide for us. So, I mean, that's just the way I see it.
What did you say? What did you say? They had a 2030. That was when their first round pick is 2031.
2031.
So you're gonna go 5, 6. You know how far 2031 is?
Do you know how good Giannis is? You're gonna have to give up so much.
They will have first round picks before 2031. They just don't control any of them.
Yeah, they don't control any of them. They have them. So we might get like pick number 30 and every year and just
and that's the thing.
You can build off that.
Yeah, you could, but not very well.
Dude,
compared to your pick,
it's okay to like let some of these guys, especially if you can get someone who's like a similar prototype to Giannis that he could maybe work in with and give pieces to, that could make things a little bit better left off for the Bucks at that point. And I honestly like that better than trading him for like a couple of 4 and 5 options and 4 picks that may not work out anyways. We know what Giannis gave us, and we should honor that.
I wholeheartedly believe that the Bucks organization will figure it out. And yes, they don't control their picks, but if we can get like, I don't know, like a Tyler Hero in the mix or something like that, like a player of that caliber in one of these first round eventually, then that could help a lot. But again, it takes a little bit to develop. No, not everyone's going to be like Tyler Hero straight out of Kentucky going to the finals the same year. But if we can get a player of that caliber and maybe try to build off of that until Dame comes back next year or in 2 years, whatever, we can do that. But trading Giannis, I'm trying to tell you, if you are trading Giannis, you are not. We are getting all the young players. We're going to get everything we need position-wise. Like, we're going to get another point guard. We're going to get a center or a forward that goes along with that, and a bunch of picks to build off and rebuild. That's exactly what Nolan said. If we trade him, we concede. We give up. We were going to rebuild and try to compete in 10 years. So
the other thing is, if he had like an Aaron Rodgers attitude, if he was someone who like kind of just like had a piss poor mood all the time and you could tell that he didn't want in, like, sure, let's make that deal. But this guy wants to be here. And
he's bought in. He will resign if we let it go to free agency. We don't have to trade it. People are acting like if we trade him, we're going to get nothing for him. Like, he's not leaving. I'm telling you, he is staying in Milwaukee his entire career. We could be terrible and he would stay in Milwaukee.
Yep.
I don't think he moves until 2028 at the earliest.
He's not moving. He's going to stay his whole career. I'm telling you, he's going to be a Dirk Nowitzki. He's staying his whole career.
If it's his choice, yes, he'll stay.
If it's his choice, yes, he'll stay. And then
exactly right.
If they are able to build around him and make another championship caliber team in Milwaukee and be able to compete at least at the Eastern Conference Finals level, he will stay. It will not be a question.
Just as a closing thought, the Bucks, he notices the Bucks are making moves. The Bucks have constantly over the years been making moves to try to better the team, to try to keep them competitive. When it wasn't working out with like Drew Holiday and Chris Middleton anymore, and they tried to go out and get Dame, they went out and got Drew for the championship. The Bucks have constantly tried to make this, team better. It's not like we're just sitting on our laurels and, running the same team out there every year and being like, well, hope this works. We have always been trying to better the team for Giannis, and I think he realizes that, and I think he appreciates that.
Yeah, we'll probably talk about this a bit actually throughout this off season, and we'll see what ends up happening. The draft lottery is May 12th, and the NBA draft is sometime in June.